YouTubers, this feels like a day where I'm going to do like, I don't know how many videos. So if you happen to catch this one today and you're wondering if I did more, I probably did. I've probably done like 5, 10 of them by the time that you see this one. But anyways, this is just going to be quick, hopefully. I'm talking about these two teachers. One 33-year-old out of Seattle, I believe it was Seattle, Washington, who slept with his 18-year-old student. He was originally let go from his job, of course, and he was charged with sexual misconduct. And because the judge would not review the decision that the judge laid down, he went and appealed his decision. And the board voted and found that he was right. The charges were dismissed because the student was 18 years old. This just lets you know the mentality of people lurking on the campus, and that's fine. Because the reality of the situation is, 2 days before she was 17, she probably looked the same. There's nothing about her that changed physically when she turned 18. It just made it legal, which means that he was lusting after her well before that. And that's just kind of sick. I mean, you know your teachers are regular people, but to know that they actually have regular thoughts like that about their students, it really puts sick things in your head. It grosses you, at least it grosses me out. So that's why I say, students, parents out there, get to know your children and exactly what they're doing, who their teachers are, who they interact with. When they have a PTA night, go. Because you don't want to be lost and you don't want to have yourself in that predicament where your child is doing something like that. I don't know where she found time to do it with them. That's another question. Because she was obviously roaming free. But that's her business. And I felt like the whole situation was, he shouldn't have gone that far. I mean, it's legal, but still, there are a lot of things that are legal that you shouldn't do morally. On the other side, we have a teacher out of China, and I know China has strict schools. I know Asia has strict schools, just as Africa does, and certain other places. A lot of foreign countries do have very strict schools. Teachers are hands-on, so to speak, paddling, sometimes bare hands, whatever. I was reading a story about this little 10-year-old 5th grader out of China who did not complete his homework assignment, and the teacher walked up to him and asked him where it was, and he explained to her that he did not complete it. Now, this teacher got mad at him, grabbed him by his cheeks, I'm talking about back here, was pinching him, pulling at his cheek, and ended up ripping his cheek off on the right side, and it fell on the ground. All because she was so angry because he did not do his homework. Now, you know what this lady did? Instead of her calling a nurse or sending him to the nurse, she picked it up, put it back onto his face, let him hold it, and told him to go home. Usually when I read these stories, I could get really passionate about them, but this one took me to a new level where I have not been before. Where I literally had to read it, and I was like, is this like some kind of hoax or something like that? And I went back and I read it again, and I had to put myself back into that situation the second time. I said back into that situation, the second time that I had read it. I could not imagine a teacher getting that rough with me. First of all, don't pinch me. Secondly, don't pinch me like that. That took me a flashback into I think it was 2nd or 3rd grade. There was this girl I could not stand. And one day we had a substitute teacher, a teacher who I could not stand. I just didn't like his personality. And I was very, I'm a good reader of people in general. But, Dara was on point back then. Now, this girl I could not stand sat in front of me. And she used to do these annoying things where she'd lean back in her chair and hit my desk. My desk would tip a little bit, my pencils would come rolling down, papers would move, and it would just be annoying. And she would do it on purpose. And so she was continuing to do that day. She was just really active. So I told her, stop what you're doing. She didn't listen. Went to the teacher. Teacher told me, he said, she's a girl. Let her be. So I was like, I was too angry to actually say anything. Because, this is going to be a side note. Surprise, surprise. But I had a foul mouth problem back then too. When people pissed me off, I just used to fly off and say all kinds of cuss words. I think I get it from my dad. But anyways, so I was just letting it slide. I let it slide, and she tapped it again. And this time she knocked my papers to the ground. And I went to the teacher. I said, hey, can I go to the office or something about this issue? And he said no. So I said, I'm going to fix her ass. Because I have, I've had to deal with that little annoyance before. She leaned back, tapped my chair. I grabbed her chair and I flung it forward. And she hit that desk and snapped back. It was the funniest thing that you would have ever seen in your life. It was funny to me, at least. And I was just laughing about the whole situation. And here comes a teacher storming at me, telling me to get up and acting like he was going to reach to grab me. And I was in that mentality, and I don't know if it's a black kid thing, because I've heard a lot of black kids say it, and I don't know what it is, but I said, you're not my mama, you're not my daddy. Don't even go to put your hands on me. That's what I learned at a very early age. If you're not either of them, go about your business, or you speak to me. Don't yell, don't get crazy, don't do anything drastic, just do what you have to say, and let's move on. Now, he tried to tell me that he was going to paddle me. And this is where I lost it. And this is where the foul language came out. I looked at that teacher, and I'll never forget it. I looked him in the eye and I said, if you put that paddle on my body, I am going to beat the dog shit out of you, pick it up, and make you eat it. And then I'm going to call my parents, and they're going to beat the shit out of you too. And that teacher looked at me for a good minute or two. And when we had a resolution eventually, that's what it came to. I don't know if the teacher was mad or crazy or what, but I was ready to go. My little ass and that grown teacher, we were ready to go at it. Because honestly, if he put his hands on me, I would have been walking the dog on that ass. If that teacher, I couldn't imagine having a teacher like that in China, where she felt the need to grab my cheek over a damn homework assignment. That boy had to have 52 stitches to his face for a damn homework assignment. I would have slapped the cat piss out of her ass and walked her all the way across that fucking classroom. I would have beat the shit out of her. I would have dragged her so fucking far, she would have been in Never Never Land when I was done with her ass. And that's the way that I feel about it. I get passionate about that stuff. Excuse the language, but seriously, where the hell do you get off? We put a burden on our teachers, no lie. They have to be nanny, secretary, best friend, teacher. But you don't have right to put your hands on anybody else's child, especially when you're going to take it that far. That child is going to suffer severe damage to his face because of something that your ass did. You're going to have to live with scars for the rest of his life because of something you did. 52 stitches, ugly stitches on the side of your face. I would have slapped the cat piss out of her ass and just let her knock herself into a motherfucking comatose state. She would have been so damaged when I was done with her. And that's how real it is. That's why students get up and buck on teachers these days. That's the counter to that. When teachers get up and they beat the shit out of the students or go crazy on them like that, that's why students start to get bold these days. And they start to fight back. Because I wouldn't put up with that. Teacher want to put their hands on me, oh, we're going to fight to the finish. One of us is going to be leaving this room walking. It's either going to be you or me. So you better give me your best shots. Fight me like I'm grown. And that's what I have to say even until now. When I was 1, 10, 100, whatever, the same rules apply. But that was my craziness for today. I'm going to get to another topic, so stay tuned.